This episode, I'm going to finish off the front of this 1950 Chevy with triangulating the lower control arms, getting rid of that strut rod, mounting some shocks, blowing it apart, welding it out, and cleaning a couple of things up, adding some fresh paint, bolting it back together, putting it on shop air. All right, we're going to get over here. I'm going to show you what I've been up to and how I'm making this thing work and how I'm going to do this just like this here. All right, we got that bushing out of there now. I have gone to the bench and I've made some of these, a couple of simple tabs. Used an old Monroe shock, actually the box that the shocks for the front end of this thing came from. This guy is going to go in here like this, right up, touch the frame. We'll fine tune, and kind of hard to do this with one hand and holding two things, but it goes in there nice, it fits nice. We might have to fine tune and shave the tab just a little bit, but we got one for the inside, shorter one for the outside. Now what I chose to do is go from here to there, 5 inches. So let's make some tabs. Boom, piece of flat strap, trace, tabs. Let's get them cut. Alright, I'm not going to bore you with the details of speeding up the footage while I cut all these out. Basically, this is what I do. I had the line on there. I cut real close to the line. When I'm done with these, I'm going to take the two matching and I'm going to bolt them together. And I'll clean them up together so I have a matching set. We'll do the same thing for the other side. And then we'll get them over to the car, clean up the frame, get them tacked in place. And boom, just like that. Tighten up a bolt. See, that one's a little bit different. Line up the two edges that weren't cut. We're going to shape these up. Make them... And ta-da! We now have 4. An inner and an outer for this side, and an inner and outer for this side. Let's put them on top. Alright, now we got them cut out. We got them cleaned up. You can see how well those fit in there. There we go. You can see how well those fit to the frame. Now I'm going to finish getting the rest of this frame back here by this back one cleaned up. I'm going to get these all tacked into place nice and good. Then we'll get this strut rod out and get some of that cut off before we weld it all up. But we're moving right along with getting it together and getting her tacked together. Alright, we got this all tacked up. We got the bar in there. We got the strut rod out now. My biggest thing I wanted to do was tack this in with before removing the strut rod, just that way I didn't have to worry about the lower control arm walking out on me any. Get that all tacked in, get it all solid, then take that mount out. Got where I believe my lower shock mount is going to go. Working on the upper shock mount right now. Now, how I typically do these is I use a couple pieces. I use a piece of like 2x2 quarter angle, and I shape one side of it, but at the top I make an end cap that comes out just a little bit so the shock can sit. Alright, and sorry it's noisy in here, fans running, welders running. So this line represents the edge of what would be the angle. It's going to sit right there. This is going to extend out just a little bit so I can keep this dust cover on the shock. You can cut these off and then you can tuck the shock in a little bit more. I don't really have to do that with this. But these holes here, these are 3/8 holes right now because the end of this is 3/8. But what most people don't realize, the shock's meant to mount. That hole should go in there, so that way it's actually riding on the bushing and not on the metal and just squashing the bushing there. This end has the metal cap that goes on it. So I'm about to open these holes up so that way the bushing sits in there. Now, in this situation, I got the small machinist vise and I got this plate. There's no ridge on this jaw, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these nuts there. That allows me to set the plate in and then tighten it down, and then I can bring the bit through and I know she's level. And now we got them cut out, and you can see just by extending a little bit past those boundaries, just a little bit. Now when I put the shock and the bushing in, I got a little bit of clearance all the way around my shock mount. Now I'm going to go collapse the suspension on the car, collapse the shock, and figure out how much of this I need to get a good weld, and a nice solid weld, and then we put a gusset on the back to the top of the frame. Alright, got the passenger side all mocked up, tabs tacked in place, got my threaded rod through there. On the passenger side, got the bar made. Got to finish taking that off for the strut rod, but as you can see, I got plenty of room at full lock between that shock and the wheel. I'm not worried about that at all. What I am worried about is that brake line. Whoever located the brake lines on this car didn't really think about turning full lock. They are real close. I mean, at the end of the day, clearance is clearance, but I think I'm gonna move them. Also, here on the top side, so I scrapped everything I was doing. I went with a plate with a hole in it, standard lower shock mount that I normally would do, which is the bolt type, single shear, I know, but I'm gonna throw a little gusset on here when I weld this out finally. Came up, changed up my angle iron, put it on house top wise, cut a slit in it so I could weld both sides, get some good, not have to worry about it. And there's our shock mount and our triangulated lower for the front bags on this 1950. All right, unfortunately we got to do this like this because I got in a hurry and put the wheels back on, but she's all painted up. We just chose to spot it in where I had messed the paint up.
Yeah, I want to try.
You will, just a second. Okay, well apparently she's going to talk to you and she's going to show you how it is. Anyway, we got the wheel. Want to show them in there? Want to show them in there? All right, we got the wheel back on. We got it all bagged out. We're about to set it down for the first time, hook up some shop air, build a computer mount. And I'm pretty sure that's about going to do it for this episode. Hey, you want to show me? Me. Hey, I'm pretty sure that's about to do it for this episode. Real quick shot of it with it all the way down, and that's that. And now, without any further ado, some video from Serenity. What do you want? What are you going to do? Gonna do a dance?
No.
Why not? You want to show them your truck?
What truck?
That truck. You want to show them that truck? The little C10 micro crawler with what sounds like a dead battery. Little Junior Pro. We got to mow the grass, girl. We got to get back on that. All right, that is it for us. We're out. All right, and real quick, we pulled it out here into the sunshine. Gorgeous Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna turn it around so I can do the back, just so I got a little bit more working area. Had to lay the front out right quick. Doesn't lay out exactly as hard as I wanted it to, but it was already converted to a Mustang 2, and it lays right in the cross member on the front. And the front will look like it comes down a little bit more once the back comes down. That's it. See you guys next time.